what helps me is to keep the hard times in the front of my mind, because it allows me to go into these big moments with a different perspective.
That advice can be toxic. He's always racing against the boogeyman. I know, very few of you care about what celebrities think on how you should live your life. But I found a small clip, a mashup of what celebrities think about living a successful life and what they perceive to be a successful living. I mean, sometimes it's interesting just to listen to people, even though we don't like them to give out tips when not asked. Having an open mind can reveal a lot of wisdom. After all, they live lives that many of us would find exciting to experience. So let's dive into it.
Now, if you've ever been called dumb, unattractive, overweight, unworthy, untalented, well, so have I. Whatever you do, don't let negativity of people projecting their own self-doubts on you deter you from your focus. I know those moments are painful, and you're human, and it hurts like hell, but now is the time to turn those criticisms into fuel and motivation to become a beautiful beast.
People are all about recognition, tribalism, seeing something similar in others than we see in ourselves. And whenever you go a path that never has been walked upon, you will always deem to be a weirdo, an outlier, someone who doesn't match up with our own values and views, which means that we are not growing in the same direction. I received a comment on a video about Maslow's pyramid of needs and why is it structured in pyramid shape. And the answer is very few of us are willing to climb up that ladder. Yes, it's lonely upstairs, but the loneliness is a perception of those who are not willing to climb that ladder. Whenever you achieve those levels of consciousness, you won't be feeling lonely anymore. It comes with territory, and you will feel as a part of the whole world, a member of the whole humankind.
Don't take advice from people like me who've gotten very lucky. You know, we're very biased. Like Taylor Swift telling you to follow your dreams is like a lottery winner saying, liquidize your assets, buy Powerball tickets. It works. Yeah. You will get, you won't.
I guess there are many people who are lucky, who have gotten a lot of success early on in early age, and they don't actually resonate with people who are living ordinary lives and them giving out advice on how to succeed and become more prominent in your own area doesn't match up with reality. Yes, a lot of wisdom comes from time, but not the time that you sit on your ass. The time that you take on challenges and experience life. I mean, some old people don't even have a small part, a small fraction of the experience that some of celebrities have gone through. But that doesn't mean that all experience converts to wisdom. It demands a lot of self-awareness and consciousness to recognize the truths that hide behind the experiences.
I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is.
My mindset is so simple. I just want to get better. I want to get better and I want to work with great people. It's really simple.
At the end of the day, if you are not creating value for other people, you won't feel as a part of community. And we all seek connections, different kind of bonds that help us to grow and develop and to shed down the more of the selfishness that we grow to accumulate with time.
Well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable.
I've talked about this in previous videos, that one of my biggest fears in life was to not have lived a life the way I wanted it. Spending most of it on something that didn't have any meaning for my life, thus making me handicapped and not creating any value for others. If you do something routinely, you're not doing it from the heart, and the world senses it. Your surrounding senses it. It comes off as ingenuine, and you're not getting any fulfillment out of it.
But some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all.
This is why security and safety are direct opposites of development and becoming better. There's always a trade-off. You either sit on your ass and cruise through life without any major hiccups, but suffer in the long run, or you find something meaningful to pursue through which you can inspire others to do the same. I mean, if you're a monk who meditates 24/7, you could do that. You could sit on your ass and do nothing, and that's just maybe. But the majority don't have that kind of a consciousness to reject all material life.
If you are looking for fame to define you, then you will never be happy, and you will always be searching for happiness.
Happiness is an internal job. Nothing outwardly can fix your internal problems.
And as long as I do everything I can to do my best and I feel pretty darn good about the effort. And sometimes I win and succeed, and sometimes I don't. But I always felt like if I didn't do everything I could to prepare, then that's when I had regret. And that's when I felt disappointed in myself.
You shouldn't be disappointed in yourself. That's rather a question of not going after things that you want because you build up this illusion before your eyes of how much tedious work it demands of you when your laziness takes over and you become paralyzed. And in actuality, there's no such thing as laziness. If you are motivated enough, interested enough in a certain subject, nothing can stop you.
Accept your lack of knowledge and use it as your asset. I know a famous violinist who told me that he can't compose because he knows too many pieces, so when he starts thinking of a note, an existing piece immediately comes to mind. Just starting out, one of your biggest strengths is not knowing how things are supposed to be. You can compose freely because your mind isn't cluttered with too many pieces.
This is a great example of not thinking too much of every step into the future. You can have a very vague vision of where you are headed, but trying to strategize and plan out each and every step 10 steps ahead will make your mind go crazy. It will trigger more of your fears and create invisible barriers that weren't there to begin with.
Life's not fair, it never was, it isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap. The entitlement trap of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. And yes, most things are more rewarding when you break a sweat to get them.
Now imagine if you would be a Superman. What would you do? Do you think life would be interesting? Why do you think Superman helps other people and does everything to protect humankind? Because there's not much else to do, right? He has to have some kind of a purpose, even though he's one of the mightiest creatures in the whole universe. Imagine if you had unlimited material resources. Do you actually think that your life would be better? There has to be some kind of a spiritual fulfillment that you get in your daily life, and that doesn't come with material possessions.
You know, you spend a lot of time just trying to be liked, and you get really worried about, do people like what I did, or do people appreciate my work? And I think that having the guts to just be yourself sometimes is harder than people think.
Being yourself is all about having the freedom to express yourself the way you want, the way you feel, being honest towards yourself.
Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. You will only ever have two choices, love or fear. Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart.
First and foremost, love is all about accepting yourself. It's not about getting some kind of external recognition or find another person to fulfill the void within yourself. It's all about being okay with whatever life throws at you.
What helps me is to keep the hard times in the front of my mind because it allows me to go into these big moments with a different perspective.
That advice can be a little bit toxic. It sounds like that he's always racing against the boogeyman that is coming for him, and he's doing everything to avoid him so that he puts into the next gear, running away from his past. I don't know if he really meant that, but according to his achievements and according to his work discipline, we could easily say that his motivation in life is the work itself, which is not very healthy. It can be a poisonous mindset. You have to be very careful about why you are doing what you're doing.
It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice.
I have a video on sacrifices and you should watch it. I'll leave a link at the end of this video. You either sacrifice something today or you sacrifice the rest of your life. There's no other option.
You gotta act, and you've gotta be willing to fail. You've gotta be willing to crash and burn. You know, with people on the phone, with starting a company, with whatever. If you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far.
There's no celebration without risks. And risk-taking is essentially overcoming your own fears. It's where you grow as a person.
You just got to get out there and take a chance. Even if it's unpaid work, whatever it is, it will lead to something better. So
this is a great advice. This is what YouTube is about. You are doing something without having any financial incentive, in the beginning at least. And as you build up a reputation, as you strengthen your position in the community, you get more and more appreciation, making your voice to be valued.
The first rule of success is to have a vision. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you go, and if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere. It's like you can have the best ship in the world, you can have the best airplane in the world. If the pilot or the captain doesn't know where to go, it would just drift around. It would not end up anywhere, or most likely in the wrong place.
I see a lot of people, even in my own family, people who have everything on the paper, who should feel good about themselves, be happy, but because they don't have any goal, any vision, any aspirations, there's no destination that they're shooting for, the life becomes unfulfilling. Don't get it twisted, a purpose is an illusion. But it's healthy illusion. It helps you to navigate through life where you ultimately won't need any.
You only learn, really, in this world from the mistakes you make, from hard times, from going through difficult periods. That's when you grow. And we should look at these moments as opportunities for growth and as almost blessings.
Ultimately, all people are searching just for one thing only: love. To feel love within, to become accepted within, to have a peace of mind and acceptance with whatever comes next. Contemplate on it. Everything that you do is your own way of seeking love. What is the best advice on life that you received? Leave it in the commentary section. But for now, Hossein out.